And we're back. I'm Ossie, Three Monkeys Solderless, home of the world's best cables for your pedal board. I mean that. These are the best sounding cables I've heard. So get you some cables at threemonkeyssolderless.com at the link below. So we're back. We missed last week. We had the hard drive on the laptop go down, which was a lot of fun. So I had to order a new one of those. And being that I am involved in too many things, I never really got a chance to back up this particular computer with a time machine. So getting everything back online was a little bit more complicated than just restoring from a backup. So I had to go in and reinstall all the software, re-download software, reinstall it, reinstall plugins, go through all the licensing crapola. But just basically starting from scratch. And at the end of the day, I think it's probably going to be a waste of time, as I think that this computer itself that I've been using for making all the videos is probably reaching end of life in terms of its ability to run some more of the recent operating systems, and how close it's going to be to where, the licensing and everything is probably not going to work very well anymore. So it may be time to do a total refurbishing of the Submarine Studio and get a different piece of hardware here, maybe like a Mac Mini or something like that, maybe a Power Mac, iMac rather, not Power Mac, I'm showing my age there, or something along those lines to run everything. I know they're discontinuing iMacs, so I don't know where this is all going. I think we're going to all end up with terminals pretty soon, and we'll all be connected to some cloud, and we will, all the processing will be done through some sort of, algorithm that's an overlay over some very simplistic operating software on the hardware that'll just get you to connect to the cloud. So I don't know, maybe I'm just wasting time even thinking about getting a computer that's a standalone. So anyway, we're back on this, and I'm going to try to not go too long because I think this thing's overheating, and that may be why the hard drive might have had a little bit more stress put on it. So we'll try to make it a little bit short today, and hopefully this thing won't start going into its loop problem, or where it starts to, give me an echo. So what have I been doing? Well, aside from building the marshmallows, which are finally done, and the last of them are going to be shipping out on this week. It's Memorial Day weekend. Wish everybody a happy Memorial Day, and everybody that's out there doing stuff, appreciate it. So, so what have I been doing? Been doing the marshmallow stuff, some other things. So, been listening mostly to Fair Warning, right? The Van Halen 1 thing, it's like, I don't know if I could get any closer. I'm going to keep trying, but I don't know if I can get any closer to that one video of using the room sounds and sort of, recording a track and then breaking it into three, and then putting, some different effects, room effects and different effects on each individual track, and then summing them. It seemed to create a pretty close sound. So I don't know if there's a whole lot more I can get there. So basically, I've been just listening to Fair Warning. I don't know why. I found the CD, right, when I was emptying some boxes, and I was like, oh. So I stuck it in the CD player in my car and just have been listening to that. And it's, it's a ton of information in there. So I think we did, hear about it later, sort of like start a couple of weeks ago with how that, theorize how that may have been recorded, going direct. I still have this set up. That's where I'm set up right now for, right this very minute, for that sort of thing. And just listening to different cuts on that album, there's so many different things I think that he used to create those sounds. I think there was harmonizers, obviously, doing the up and down. I think there may have been some electro-harmonic stuff in there. I'm going to look into that for doing some of these, for doing Unchained. It makes sense to me. It's like I was thinking, about, Sunday Afternoon in the Park. I guess I'm probably messing that up. But the keyboard, right, which was an Electro-Harmonix little crappy plastic keyboard. And I'm thinking to myself, well, he probably was going through the catalog and was like, oh, I'm going to get this keyboard. And like everybody else does, when you got the catalog, you're like, well, I might as well get that and that and maybe this and one of those. So in that catalog was the octave multiplexer or whatever it's called, which was a, sort of like a pitch tool. And I'm wondering if that was what he was using like on Unchained. Could have been that. Could have been a blue box. I don't know. We're going to look into it. But the electroharmonic stuff would be kind of cool to sort of think about. Now, I'm not sure. Actually, I just thought of this right now. All right, so I've got a good friend that's in the music business that helped me out in the early days, getting me dealers in Blockhead. And, we've been friends ever since. And it's, more than just, like amps and stuff. But his name is Ken. Ken Volpe works still at Ultrasound in New York, which carried Three Monkeys and Blockheads. And his father was an engineer who actually was a roommate with Bob Moog. And Ken's father designed a lot of the electroharmonic stuff back in the 70s, and was, good friends with Mike Matthews and all of this kind of stuff. So I'm wondering whether he would know, whether Ken would know about this stuff. So I might have to get in touch with him and see if he's got one lying around someplace. So also, I was listening to the radio too. And so some Whitesnake comes up, and it's, that album that was from 87, I guess self-titled, that had Still of the Night on it. And it had a bunch of other hits on it. And it had, the tune that was on was the one that was written for, I think, Tina Turner originally, which is really funny, right? Because you wouldn't think of, John Sykes playing on a Tina Turner album, although I'm sure he could do whatever he wanted to because he's that, he's as talented as they come. But Here I Go, Here I Go Again. All right. No, Is This Love? Sorry. Is This Love? And I'm listening to the clean parts, right, that Sykes is playing. And I'm like, it just kind of just occurs to me, right? And usually when something, that's tangential pops into your head, there's a reason for that, right? Usually things don't where you're listening, well, maybe, I don't know, you're listening to Tina Turner or you're listening to Whitesnake and all of a sudden comes into your mind, gee, I want ice cream. I don't know. But in this case, I was like, that sound on the clean sounds kind of familiar to me. I mean, the chorus does, right? So I'm like, okay, who knows? I mean, there's a million kinds of choruses. There's a million ways to get choruses. So it just kind of left me back, left it in the back of my mind. So I was like, all right, let me listen to this. And that's where it sort of came together, that this chorus sounded familiar, right? So this part right here on Fair Warning, which is going to give me my copyright strike, which I'm looking for. And it's from Push Comes to Shove, and it's the clean sort of parts in that album, in that track. So listen to this for a second. Right? That part. I'm like, that sounds familiar. It's like some of the stuff in the Whitesnake sounded kind of like that. So I was like, I wonder what he used, what Sykes was using. So, plugging in some stuff, and I came up with this video that was by this guy, Michael Nielsen, who was a very talented guitar player, and he was trying to basically duplicate the solo from that song, which I thought he did a really amazing job of. And he was using a Dimension D. And I was like, oh my God, why didn't I think of that? That was like the chorus in the 80s, right? It was on everything. Everybody was dimensioning D all over the place. I was like, I wonder if the Dimension D is the chorus that is used along with the flanger and all that stuff on, the Fair Warning album. Could have been used in a lot of places as well. So I was like, all right, where can I get a Dimension D? And I was thinking, to start off, our actual Dimension D is, a couple of thousand for a real one. I'm like, well, if it's not the right one, do I really want to spend all that kind of money, which could solve all the computing problems? So that doesn't seem like a responsible use of the money, although I could probably flip the unit if it wasn't what I was looking for or just wanted to demo it. So it turns out Universal Audio makes one, which I thought sounded really good. And that was the one actually that was in the Nielsen video, was he was using the Universal Audio Dimension D plugin. So I went ahead and downloaded one of those things and got it into GarageBand. And I'm thinking, let's see what it sounds like. So I've got that loaded up. So I thought maybe we'd look at that for like a quick second and tell me what you think, because we got to make some noise, right? So I got the Strat again, which I think is what I used for that last video. I lost the settings that I had, from the last video of Hear About It Later. So I just kind of built a project again from memory, or just, just trying to get it close. I mean, all this stuff is just spaghetti being thrown against the wall, getting a morgue of, possibilities. And then, you could figure out how to dial it in more or less. But, that kind of stuff you end up sort of chasing your tail with. But it gives you an idea of what could have been done and ways that, things that would be useful for like a Van Halen kind of like arsenal. So I just built up this project, and it's close. I'm sure it's not exactly the same. I might think it's better than the last one, or I might think it's worse. I don't really know. But let's turn on the channels that have it. So once again, the signal chain, I'm just using the Stratocaster on the dual setting from these two pickups. It's going into the Marshmallow, yes, but the Marshmallow isn't on. I'm just sort of using it as a split because I think that's how they did it. So the second input is being used as the output. It's going up to the flanger, right? It's an MXR flanger up there, and then that's going into the Eventide, right? The 949 that's up on the wall, up on the rack here. And then I'm using the delay out and the normal out just directly into my interface. And I'm going to have to replace that stuff too. I need to get a Universal Audio interface. I've decided that. So there's going to be some upgrades in the near future. So that's the basic signal chain. So let's unmute that and see what we got. All right, so that's where we're at. All right, so that's just the flanger and the harmonizer. The harmonizer is again set to a delay setting of about 18 milliseconds, and that gives a little bit of a chorusy sound, as well as it's utilizing its flange, right, which is not a drastic flange. If you listen to without this flanger on, right, you hear just a little. It's just a little bit of a flange. The main flange is taken care of with this. Okay. Now what I wanted to look at was putting on this this plugin, this Dimension D. So let's see what that does when we turn it on. Right? Doesn't that sound really nice? Let me mute my microphone so we don't have to listen to the pick noise from that's coming through on the mic. Right? It kind of widens everything out. I mean, to me, it sounds, I got to learn this part, right? From this, I wish I could just rewind this thing. Why is it not letting me do this? This is really strange. Why it's not letting me do that? Okay, there we go.
Does it seem cold in here to you?
I got it on.
What's there to do tonight? Anything? Give me another cigarette over here. Is there anything left in that bottle? Yeah, over here, man. Some people live apart, they break your heart. Push come to shove, I believe it was inevitable.
This could be the chorus that was used.
Could this be the one that got away? I get the message, guess I knew it all along. Says you're a stranger here in paradise.
Right? Listen to that part. All right, I think that adds something to it. So I'm going to start playing around with it. It's on the master bus, so it's on my voice too, which is a problem, right? Which I'm going to solve once I got an Apollo. So let me mute this. At least I threw in a clam or two for you. But I think that this plugin is it's really nice. I have to tell you. So that has a few different modulation modes, right? So it's really simple. It's just basically a 4-button unit with a stereo mono option. So I could go through some of the other sort of effects. Right now we're called a bigger electric bass. Let's do an 80s vocal spreader. Let's see what that does. You know what that almost sounds like? I don't mean to, this is what, I mean, this, you know. Right? That just reminded me of that, right? That is the same thing. And also it's a Pink Floyd thing, I think, right? Interesting. Let's try a 80s vocal dimension. Had it off. 80s vocal spreader. I have it tuned up again. What a mess. I'm a mess. All right, let's try some of these other wide sweep vocal mono. These are just presets. Let's try some more presets just for fun. Phased string section. R&B chorus for a Rhodes piano. It all kind of sounds the same. Just clicking through them. I mean, I just got this thing like an hour ago. That seems to be pretty good. That's called the all button stereo. If we add, like, let's say, like, more reverb on top of it. It's a pretty good sounding unit. It sounds good in voices too, right? It's like, let's turn it off. Yeah, so that's sort of what I've been goofing around with, just like, or not goofing around with, but what I've been listening to has been that fair warning thing. So, it's hard to know when like things are gonna kind of like hit you. Wow, that is weird. This computer is baked. It might be time to shut this thing down. It's hard to know when things are gonna hit you, but some days you just wake up with an idea to make something, and it comes. But when you're working too much on building things that you have to make for other people, your mind isn't in that space. Your mind is really working on, the logistics of when are these things going to come in? How do I get everything together in a proper order? What should I be doing right now to get this done? So it kind of kills your creativity in a little bit because your mind, all of its processes are working towards a logistical solution for a completion of a project that you've already done. So I think now that these amplifiers are pretty much done and I've got some free time, I think there'll be some new projects or some new ideas coming to the front. That's what I'm hopeful for. You never know. But it could be, that something's going to fall out of the tree like a coconut and whack me on the head, which would be nice because I need to get it in the head with a coconut really bad. All right. So I think that should be it for today. All right. I want to play around more, get this computer working right, and play around a little bit more of the Dimension D and a few other things and see all that works. So, sorry for missing last week. Sorry for cutting this a little short today. I'm kind of worried this computer is going to blow up. But thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next week.